So, hello and welcome everybody to the Skill Bharat Samman podcast. And today we have with us Miss Ashwini. Miss, if you could please introduce yourself to the audience and your school.
Yes, so I am Dr. Ashwini Kulkarni. I actually represent a group of schools and colleges. Since this is related to schools, I would like to tell about our chain of schools. So we have three schools. The name of the school is City Pride School. So this school was established in year 2003, and since then we have been taking a lot of initiatives related to skill training. We are also an Atal school and won many awards related to skill education and even in other areas like design thinking. And we actually promote a lot of out of box thinking, lot of progressive approach to our education. So we are an affiliated school to CBSE. CBSE also recently have started supporting a lot of skill education initiatives, and we are a very significant part of it. So I think this should
That's
be
great. Uh,
sufficient.
Dr. Kulkarni, if we could all know that what exactly are the skills, like all the possible skills you all provide in your schools, and how you all provided, because today's skills have become a jargon in the education system. We all are using it continuously. Everybody is just saying it out loud, but you all are actually
Yeah.
implementing it. So
Yes.
we would like to know the exact words, like exact ways you are implementing it.
Yeah, so I believe that we feel that it has to be a very integrated approach to our school education. So we cannot separate out skill education from the education that we are imparting. So it is not run as an hobby class, or it is not an out of school activity. It is integrated in our school curriculum. Since as young as the age of grade three, we start our labs. So this is a hands-on activity. So we have design thinking labs. So grade 3, grade 4, and grade 5, the children are exposed to a lot of hands-on activities through giving them some problem statements. We also actually teach them the platforms that they could use in terms of technology to their age group, obviously. So some of the mechanical kind of mechanos they could use for it. We also teach them how to use the data communication channels. So what we try to do there is that how they could, if given a specific skill, how they could implement it in their day to day life. So that is what is a curriculum that we have designed, and they have 2 periods every week for that. After sixth standard, then we actually tell them to choose one of the platforms. So we have a lot of options given to the children, and after fifth standard we give them an a kind of psychometric test wherein we actually find out what is their interest, whether they are more logical, where they are more creative. And then there could be options like fashion designing, there is animation and gaming, then we also have robotics and electronics, we have advanced mechanics. So these are the things where the children could actually work on in those labs, which are all developed labs. And we, very importantly, the trainers are actually from industry. So most of them are engineers or fashion designers or animators. So they are on our full time scale. So what happens is when they are on full time, it is always that availability is there. And obviously now it's because of a very very strong initiative by government about skill development. There are a lot of channels that have opened up for these children to showcase what they have learned. The great success, all that is happening for last more than 10 years in our school. So now maybe in last 4 5 years the government has started, but for us now, since it is around 10 years, 2012 we started our skill labs,
Wow.
around 10 11 years. So now our students have passed out, and we could see that it has developed that kind of confidence in them to actually take up these little different careers also, because they have been exposed to these kind of labs in their school
Yeah.
years.
So that's really great to hear that, 10 years ago, you all had started the same initiative that now is getting recognized by people like Skill Bharat Saman, CNBC, getting aired on TV. So it's
Yes.
after 10 years, we have actually started seeing the work that you all have been doing since 10 years. So
Yes. Yes.
everything good takes time. And now coming to this first question is that, you know, uh, AI, today we all have are hearing that AI is going to replace all jobs. Kids are going to be out of jobs quite soon. By the time they'll be reaching the job market, there will be robots that will replace us. So, what is it that you think? Like, are we preparing them enough, or is there anything we can do to change this?
I believe that any technology is a slave to a human being. So you cannot have it other way around, right? So I believe some jobs could be, they would not exist in the coming years, but there could be some new jobs that would come in. So it never happens like that. If you remember in when it was K2 kind of an wave, and that time many feared that they would lose jobs in banking sector or other sectors, but that never happened. Rather, new jobs came up. So I believe that how we teach children now, we have to actually focus more on how they learn than what they learn. Because if it is what they learn, it is going to be not there anymore when they start working. But when they know how to learn, they become fast learners. So that is what we need to focus. So the pyramid ka top jo hai, wo nahi badlega. The bottom line always changes, right? Because the skills are replaced, but the thinking never. So I believe that is not going to happen. AI is going to support chat gpt. If you talk about like now chat gpt I believe that chat gpt is going to actually help to as an secretary to a human being, right? So and very smart secretary who could develop the content, but the thought has to be of a human being. So I
Correct.
believe that there the thought process of education has to be changed. NEP is also working on that, and we have to be a little more smarter. We have to go more deeper than wider. So I think that is what should be looked upon.
Absolutely. That's the first time I'm hearing such an on point, good answer from any principal. Like every time I talk, they give a little bit like ki, AI aa raha hai, we will prepare our kids. But when you said it, it was so on point. Like you had really researched on the topic very well. So thank you so much on that. And my like the question that I have is, kids today are seeking to be entrepreneurs after watching Shark Tank, and they're
Yeah.
getting excited about things like that. So, what are your thoughts on kids starting their own companies? Like we spoke about jobs, now let's talk about entrepreneurship for students.
Yeah. So I believe that with technology, what happens is to become a startup or starting a startup has become much easier. So in earlier times, when we used to talk about an entrepreneur, you need to have a big manufacturing sector. You have to have a lot of capital expenditure into it,
Hmm.
and a lot of initial kind of investment was required. But now, when you talk, it is knowledge economy. So even in a 2 BHK flat or even in one room, and young smart kid could start his own business. So that is what is the whole idea. The ideation is very important now, right? So because there are people available to get the things done after that if the ideation is perfect. And I always tell my students that you work more on ideation. Don't think too much that whether it is possible to make that particular product. There are a lot of things available to support you there, but if your ideation, the thought process is right. So whenever we actually participate in different competitions, I always tell them that focus on an idea and focus on the need of that idea. So just don't do it because I have an idea, whether you really need it, whether the society really needs it, whether it is going to make the job easier, less costlier, then only that technology would be accepted by society, right? So
Absolutely.
I believe that being entrepreneur now is not much of an taboo. The parents are very, very supportive. I feel that they want their children to become entrepreneurs, not like earlier times that it used to be horror stories that you wouldn't get a bride if you are an entrepreneur unless you have a job. So many of the industrial staff said that. I don't think that is anymore in story. Even the girls are coming up to have their own startups, and very welcoming, I believe, is in thought.
That's a very great keep earlier times it was like a horror story. uh, Yeah. And now let's dive into the rapid fire round, miss, if you don't mind. It's just me asking a question and you have to answer only in one word. Okay.
Okay.
So the first question is the situation. If you are a student
Hmm.
and you had on this, tomorrow is your CBSE board exam. At the same time, tomorrow
Hmm.
is a national level swimming competition. Which one
Hmm.
will you go to?
Both.
You can only choose one. This is the same day, same time.
Say CBSE exam.
Okay. Second question is, should the kids focus on the degree, the certificate, because that validates their learning, or should they focus on the outcome of their learning?
Outcome of learning, absolutely.
Okay. Next question is job seekers or job creators?
Job creators.
Okay. And if you had the choice to go back to your school times, what would you learn?
I would learn more on hands-on, hands-on, education was lacking that time.
Okay. That's
More of hands-on. It was more of theoretical and
mm,
more on syllabus focused. It was not hands-on. Did
ab-
not give us a chance to work on our ideas.
yeah. And if you could add anything, if you had all the resources in the world, if you could add any subject to your school or any skill to your school right now, what would that be?
EQ,
EQ.
developing EQ, emotional quotient of children.
Interesting. That's a very, very interesting thought. So that's all for the day. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your time on a Tuesday morning when you're in school, busy handling entire so many kids and your colleges as well. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for your time. And
Thank
that's
you.
yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.